morning show right here on Park City Television.
Thanks to Brett Young for that music. We're going to get a little bit more of that in a moment, but first we have the folks from Birds of Neptune. It is a slam dance feature. We are joined by director Stephen Richter and also one of the actors. We have Britt Harris. How are you guys this morning?
Good. So good. Thank you for having us.
Well, absolutely. You're coming from Washington and you're coming from Seattle.
Seattle
is what we got. So nice to have you guys here.
Thank you.
Or Tacoma, I should say.
Yeah, Tacoma, right? Washington, by way of Portland, by way of Los Angeles.
And now you're here. Now you're here. You guys been to Park City before?
First time.
First time.
Yeah.
Same as well?
Just as a tourist.
Yeah, before. Yeah. Well, I was talking a little bit earlier with some folks. Will you guys get a chance to go skiing or snowboarding while you're here?
I don't know.
Maybe.
Our schedule's a bit packed.
I would think so, but that's
stuff,
like what you got to do when you come here to Utah.
Yeah.
So maybe we can
that's what they tell me.
That's what they tell me. We'll see how that is. Well, let's talk about the film Birds of Neptune. Stephen, what inspired you to put this type of film together in the first place, and what is it about?
So the film's about two sisters who grow up together without parents in their childhood home in southeast Portland. And a stranger comes into the house and kind of wreaks havoc.
I was waiting for more, and then I was like, "Oh, that's it! That's it, guys! You got to wait and find out what else
you get."
That's the tease.
I hate that, man. Well, let's talk a little bit about some of the themes that we'll be seeing in this film and what your expectations were going into it as a director. Because I would think, oftentimes, what you are going for at the end of the film, you're like, "Oh, well, that kind of changed. Not quite what I expected." Or does that happen? If that makes sense.
You know, the process for the film was pretty intense, but I think we achieved what we wanted to achieve.
Excellent. Yeah. Tell me how you met with Britt and why you decided to cast her in this role.
I met with Britt through a friend, and we had an actor beforehand, and they gelled really well together.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Britt, tell me about your role in this film and what it was like working with Stephen.
Okay. So in the film, I play the younger sister. Her name is Rachel, and she's a musician, and she sees the world in a very interesting way. She's a kind of person that likes to create her own worlds to keep herself safe. She was thrust into adulthood much earlier than a lot of us should be. And so through her creation of her own world and her music and her relationship with her sister, she kind of keeps herself to herself and away from the world and safe. That kind of character was a real treat for me to investigate. I feel like it's way different than myself, but in ways some of the dark and secret parts of myself I keep to myself. So I had a blast working on that, and working with Stephen was awesome. Stephen's a great director.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We spent months and months and months before production building the story and workshopping the story and spending time together. And what was nice about that is once we got into production, we were free to just like breathe and let things be and see what comes out of that world and out of those relationships and make new discoveries. So it's not like we were on set like, okay, this is my scene, okay, I know my lines, this is good, let's go. Like we had like, I mean, you and Molly at least had a year before production.
I think something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
8 months, a year.
Yeah, it was a real treat for me to be involved in a project like that, that one felt farther from myself than things I usually play, and also having that experience of working with people with such generosity of spirit that would allow months and months of prep time to just really enjoy and dig in and discover what I wanted to discover for myself in that role, and hopefully that shows on screen.
Why do you guys feel it's so important to share stories like this, specifically at a place like Slam Dance, celebrating independent film? Stephen?
Yeah.
You know, I love the fact that there's an outlet for independent films like Slam Dance, where people who are unknown can have a place to show their films. So we're really excited to be here.
Excellent. What about you, Britt?
Awesome.
Taking it all in.
I'm just so excited to be here. It's like being at film camp. All I have to do is eat and drink and watch movies. It's so fun.
Oh, that's great. Well, I'm curious, as an actress and working with these various elements, how do you prepare for a role? Obviously, this is different depending on the type of director you're working with, but for this particular instance, how did that go?
Oh, gosh. Wow. That's huge. Yeah, I mean,
like,
every time is different. I think for this film in particular, it's just like understanding what it's like to be so separate from the world where you don't quite feel safe putting yourself into the world yet, and having the inner strength to be able to survive without all of that external help. So for the character of Rachel, like I was saying, she creates her own worlds, and she's very strong sense of self. She's very childlike, but at the same time, like, super mature. Like, she's oddly very stable for everything she's been through. But she just, like, that inner strength and that inner knowledge of self, when it's not you and you're finding that other person, like, I think for me, trying to really figure out, like, her nuts and bolts and what makes her tick and what makes her so strong in herself, that was what took the most work and what I spent the most work on. So just, I mean, I don't know, just like getting into the mechanics of someone else's brain and someone who's fictitious. It's cool because you have that authority, I guess, to make it what you want, but also you want to tell the story right and have the character portrayed the way that you believe she really should be portrayed. So. And
before we show the clip here to give you guys an idea of what we're talking about, I want to know, Stephen, what are some of the challenges you deal with as a director? You've been doing this for a long time, worked around the world, in Brazil in particular. Tell me about that experience and how you're able to apply that to what you're doing right now here at Slamdance.
Oh, man.
That was a very lengthy question, but good luck.
The film in Brazil was, that is just intense. It was a feature film we shot in 5 days, which is insane. And I shot in Portuguese.
Oh.
You know, so that was pretty intense.
No big deal.
You know, I guess I just took, you know, aspects from the film that really worked, and I applied it to Birds of Neptune. And I think I'll do the same with my follow-up film.
Right. Excellent. Well, let's take a look at the clip right now, then we'll come back and talk a little bit more about where you can see it. So here it is, Birds of Neptune.
What's up? Did you apply to some college? Little one?
Did somebody call?
No. Do you have some mail on the table?
Can you sign this?
Put it on the table. Read the fine print first.
Hey. Hey.
Hi, Mona. What's this? Nice going, girl.
Thanks.
From Birds of Neptune, so you'll have to go to one of these showings to see it. And where can we see it at?
You can see it today at 105 at the Grand Ballroom at the Treasure Mountain Inn.
That's right.
And then on Monday, you can see it at 7:30 in the gallery at the same place, Treasure Mountain Inn. Hope to see you guys there. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much to Stephen and Britt for being here this morning with us. Appreciate your time. Enjoy it here in Park City.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
We'll be right back after this commercial break. When we do, we have one more song provided by Brett Young. That's coming up after this break.